they really have to know their numbers. Because you and I as coaches, how many times do we call up one of our guys or women and say, how many people did you call this week? How many meetings did you have? How many loans did you close last month? And they go, I don't know. I got to look it up. I'm like, oh my goodness. How do you not know how many loans you closed last month?
Hey, welcome to Loan Officer Growth, podcast that helps loan officers grow their business, increase their success, and have more freedom. I'm excited today. We've got Rick Koenig on. Rick, man, you pretty much do everything. You've been a loan officer, branch manager. You're a coach. You're a loan officer recruiter. You're a consultant. You're a dear friend of mine, an all-around awesome person. Am I missing anything, man?
No, that sounded great. I'll have to record that and play that back for my wife so she knows all that stuff about me.
That's awesome. Well, man, it's great to have you on. It's been a while. I know we were talking in the green room, and I'm excited to have you.
Well, I think we did our first podcast maybe a year ago, and it's been an interesting last 12 months, 22 into 23 and now 23 into 24 and what people are going through. So, things that we're talking about are relevant today and probably in the future too.
Very cool. So tell us about what you love most about what you do, because you do a lot. So what do you really love?
Over the last half of my career, most of what I was doing was helping grow companies. I was very fortunate. There was a company out of Michigan that I was lucky to get introduced to by a recruiter. The recruiter was a good buddy of mine. He had done recruiting for me at GMAC Mortgage, back when GMAC was like the 7th largest company in the United States. And I think General Motors was the largest corporation in the world at that time. We didn't have Elon Musk and all this other stuff going on. And so my buddy Jim, when the collapse happened, I was in the builder division at Countrywide, and I got let go in like the first wave, and it was probably the luckiest thing that happened to me. And so in 2008, I got hooked up with a company out of Michigan, AmeriFirst Home Mortgage, who was recently bought by Union Home Mortgage. And they were a $250, $300 million a year company, and they brought me on just to recruit. So that was the first time I was really just strictly recruiting. And I opened up my own branch here in Cincinnati, which is still here. It's been in the same location since 2010. My son's still with the company, with Union Home now, and he's in their marketing department. And he works with the new recruits, showing them marketing and stuff. So it's kind of the blood's in the family lines. And, that company grew from 250 to, I think when I left in 17, we were probably about $1.6 billion. And then I moved to another company out of Kentucky, helped build them for 3 years. And then COVID hit, and I started working with Carl, doing some coaching, which I absolutely loved doing the coaching. But, my background's always been the recruiting. So, I've been able to combine the coaching and the recruiting. And with, the way things have been the past 2 years, I've had opportunities now with a couple companies that one I actually bought into. My wife and I, getting to know this company through coaching, we bought into a company. So I'm doing some recruiting for them. I'm working with my clients there, or not my clients, but I'm working with my employees and coworkers there to, help them grow their business. The company's Mpire, they're members of the Mortgage Marketing Animals and Freedom Club. So, they follow our coaching. And then one of my other coaching clients has brought me on. They're a broker. And then I had a great opportunity with one of our great mortgage banking members through the Freedom Club. And they brought me on, to work with their management team, to do recruiting, and again, to work with our employees. So I'm actually, a W-2 employee for the first time in a number of years, with benefits and everything, with Premier Lending out of Charlotte, North Carolina, which is our friend, Ferris Farage.
Nice.
So I'm having a lot of fun right now. I'm getting back into a lot of phone calls again, talking to people and finding out what's going on in their careers.
Yeah, and you hear the word recruit and you think it's just trying to find someone to join a company, but it's really not. It's looking for like-minded people that it's going to benefit them to have a new experience, and it's kind of a win-win, right?
I think it's a win-win. And, in today's market, you have to have all the tools and you have to have the proper help. And both of these companies that I'm working with, they're getting coaching, some from multiple companies that they're coaching with,
Yep.
that they're looking at different models, that they want to hear what everybody's talking about, what's working for people. And then the other thing is you have to have the proper tools when it comes to loan products. And nowadays, if you don't have the full toolbox of products, you're probably missing out on what could be at some companies 25 to 40% of their total volume is coming from like non-QM loans and things like that. So you have to really know what those loan products are. You have to be ready to use them. You have to be able to name drop with realtors that, hey, I can do these things for investors. I can do these fix and flips. I can do, just about anything that, 20 years ago, we had like 4 loans, besides
Right.
the subprime, and those guys back in the day, back in the 90s and 2000s, those guys were like pirates, they were out there doing their own thing. And, we kind of stayed away from them, but nowadays, both brokers and correspondent lenders and even some banks have access to all these loans. So you really got to know those loan products, and you got to know your market.
Definitely, definitely. So back to the recruiting, what's kind of your process? How do you find people that are like-minded, that are looking to possibly make a change for the better for them? What's kind of your process with that?
Couple things, right now, you don't always want to find the people that are out there frustrated with their current company. That's not always it. I actually love the people, just like, we run into with the realtors that tell me they're really happy where they're at.
Right.
And it's like, tell me about why you're so happy. And when you hear their stories, a lot of times you're going to hear also what they don't like, and they don't realize they're telling it to you. And a lot of times is, maybe they're being held back from the ability to double their volume because maybe they need a loan officer assistant, but right now the company's not willing to do it. With coaching, you and I know how to bring a topic like that up, how to get them to maybe share somebody to begin with, how to negotiate with their company, let them know that it might cost them some bips, but, do you want to make, close more loans, or you want to make more bips? If you take a little bit less, you kick in, the company shares it with you, maybe you share that person, all of a sudden you got that extra help you need. And the companies that I'm recruiting for have that type of model in place because they follow the Marketing Animals, the Freedom Club, and what we do in coach. So they understand that for somebody to increase their business, they got to do that. So I'm looking for people that want to grow their business, that maybe want to double or even triple it over the next year, even in today's economic times. Because as you and I were talking about, the dollar volumes this year is going to be huge. One of the top 5 probably all time in the industry. The units are going to be down. It just means we got to go get our share of the units to get those bigger loan sizes. And commissions are up from where they were. I mean, think of where they were 20 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago, I was getting 55 to 65 basis points on a deal, and now I see some of these people getting 100, 100 quarter, 125, 150, or some of the broker companies paying even more. It's just mind boggling to me. And there's times where it's like, man, why did I get so much into management? I should have kept my team together.
Right.
I always talk about, should I put the band back together? But man, my band, my crew would be like 62 to 78 right now.
Get the
So
Rolling Stones to get back together, right? Or they
something
are
like that.
together.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. But the other thing I'm looking for is, this will sound funny, but I look for people when I'm looking at their backgrounds and I'm looking at their LinkedIn's. I love to go to the bottom of the page and look at what their activity is in the community. What kind of things are they doing? Have they been active in the mortgage bankers, the board of realtors, the home builders association?
Right.
Do they volunteer for stuff at their schools, or do they have a cause? Are they following Alzheimer's, or like for my family, it's uh, the uh, shoot, it's for cancer, for leukemia and lymphoma. Light Up the Night is the big event we've been doing since my dad passed like some 12 years ago.
Nice.
And I like when people are active. And then the other thing I look for, they really have to know their numbers. Because you and I, as coaches, how many times do we call up one of our guys or women and say, how many people did you call this week? How many meetings did you have? How many loans did you close last month? And they go, I don't know. I got to look it up. I'm like, oh my goodness. How do you not know how many loans you closed last month? How do you not know how many people you talked to yesterday or this week? Because those are measurables that if you're not hitting your measurables, you're not going to gain the results. So I like that when I talk to somebody, I love when they're either thrilled with their numbers or they know their numbers and they're not thrilled.
Right.
Because when they know their numbers, then typically they're probably willing to be coached. And if they're willing to be coached with the platform, if you put them in the right platform, you give them, some of those intangibles, like a good platform, the right tools, leadership, and coaching within that company, then you're going to put people in a better position. And when they see that, you're being very transparent about the companies you're recruiting for, and that you want to understand their plan and that their plan fits in with you, then all of a sudden you build a relationship with somebody. I mean, I literally got a phone call for my birthday just yesterday, a couple of days late. And the guy was like, hey, man, we got to get out. And it's like, this guy is still sitting in the same desk, in the same chair that I put him in 2008. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. 2 doors down from my son's office, who's still there. And it's, I have branches like that I've helped open up all over, probably about 6 states. And, those people are so loyal to the companies that I put them with. And that's only because for me personally, I've only been able to recruit for maybe 5 or 6 companies over the last 30 years. And for me to recruit for a company, I have to absolutely be in love with them. I have to literally believe what they're doing. And I have to know that if I take you, man, Richard, I can't take you and call you up and say, Richard, come with me, unless I know for a fact that as long as you do what you've been doing and you know how to do, I can't put you with a company that's going to in any way negatively impact your family.
Right.
And your good recruiters are like that. They care. They want to see you be successful. You're not just a paycheck. Because if you're just a paycheck, you get a phone call from those same guys every year and a half. And the question is, oh, where are you working now? And when you got to ask a recruiter where he's working now, that already tells you one thing. If they're not at a company 3, 4, 5, 6 years before maybe they have to make a move because, things happen, companies change, people grow, then is that recruiter really believing what they're doing, or are they just doing it for a paycheck? So,
right.
If you know their pains, you understand what they're going through, you're transparent with them, and you've got something to offer, then it's easy to, I think, recruit the right people.
Yeah. So let's say I'm listening to this podcast. I'm a branch manager. I want to add 5 loan officers to my team. What do you suggest is a great process?
So first you have to know whether you're going to do the recruiting, in-house, or you're going to have, external from your company, maybe at the corporate level. I'd say typically you got to help yourself, because the corporate recruiters aren't always, they're looking for a branch. They're looking to bring another crew on, and they can't maybe find like for me here in Cincinnati, they can't just find me one, two, three, four, five guys.
Right.
So there's a number of things you have to do. First, on the marketing side, I would say, and I'm literally in the middle of doing this right now, create a video marketing campaign, stuff that you can post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and just be yourself. Talk about different things, quick little 1-minute hits, and then, mention the company. We were just literally on the Breakfast Club a little bit ago, listening to Chelsea Gardner talk about Facebook campaigns. You can load your target list of loan officers into Facebook. You can do a targeted marketing type thing with them, and they start seeing your face. They start seeing your picture. You have to create a script. You have to have, in the first probably 15 seconds, something that you say that is going to grab somebody. And then you have to make it easy, once you are reaching out to people, for them to contact you back. You should have a recruiting domain and website as part of your company website. And that's just the technical stuff you need to be doing. You have to have your CRM. You have to have the capability. I'm personally using Bonzo right now. So I have the ability through a software to text somebody. I can email them. I can phone call them through the system. I can have a power dialer. I can even slide dial them, which I don't recommend doing to people too often. Even using the power dialers right now and leaving messages. Hey, if you've got somebody with an iPhone, they can now answer the phone in the middle of your call, or at least listen to it.
Right.
And you don't want to get caught, not leaving a real message. The other thing is, are you going to use a virtual assistant? Your company, providing virtual assistants for people, that's huge. Are you going to spend a little bit of money to help get those phone calls out there? We're actually using some in-house callers. Ferris Farage over at Premier has, we found 2 American-based callers, because, we want our callers to be a little bit representative of us. And I want them to have some go back and forth. I don't want them having to stick to a script. Let them get off script. Let them just BS, if that's the best way to say it. Let them have a little fun. Have the target bullet points in the opening thing they're going to ask, but look for somebody with the personality, that's going to be out there and talking to people. And that's before you start making the phone calls. We're doing all that stuff. Then you have to know your target audience. Are you calling, Carl calls qualified real estate agents, qualified agents. I would say the same thing about loan officers. Come up with your profile. Are you thinking about, do you want rookies? Do you want experienced? Do you want business development reps that are going to bring business in? Do you want all 3? I always thought, at least in today's market, my thing is, I'm personally looking for people with at least 2 years experience, typically closing at least 1 to 2 deals a month, because those are the same people that were closing 4 to 5. I'd prefer 2 to 3 a month. I'd give them the disc test, which, as members of the marketing animals, we have access to the disc tests, because you can look at their different drivers. You can see whether they're salespeople, whether they're extroverts. You can look at what I like to look at is, on one of the additional pages to a disc report, is their economic driver. I love somebody with a high economic driver, because somebody with a high economic driver can offset some of those other features that might not, show that they're going to be a great salesperson, because an economic driver can turn, a recruit into a unicorn. So when you see these things, you can, if you learn how to read them, you know how to manage somebody, what pushes them, what buttons you can push. And if they have that high economic driver, that's going to, again, be that person that probably wants to double or triple their business. So, when I talked about double, triple their business, active in the community, willing to be coached, all that kind of stuff can show up in that disc report.
Yep.
And then once you start calling these agents and you have the profile, there needs to be a follow-up plan. You need to know what the messages are. And most importantly, you have to remember and listen to what their needs are. and my script was kind of, hey, this is Rick Koenig, and I'm calling for the great mortgage company. And man, I know you're busy. I know you're getting recruited like crazy. I know you're probably not looking to make a change, but I just got one quick question for you. Are you working for a company with a model and the system in place to help you double or triple your production over the next 90 to 180 days? And you just got to stop.
Yeah.
And that's where either the objections or things will come out. And if they don't actually answer the question, I'll ask them a second time. Well, that's all good, but can you double or triple your business right now? And what are they doing to help you do that? Well, why don't you give me 5 minutes or 15 minutes to talk to you? We can do it next Wednesday. We can do it. We can do it tomorrow. We can do it whenever. Let's schedule 15 to 30 minutes. I'll show you some stuff that, my companies are doing that can help you grow your business. What do you think? What do you got to lose? And so you've got to have that script. And that's kind of my script, because I think you got 15 seconds to get the hook in.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. Keep it simple, but, make them want more.
Yeah. And usually they are needing help because their companies are not supporting them like they think.
Now we, I got something really cool going on. I told you about it before in the green room. We're about to announce at Premier Lending that we're going to have a 100% Latino division rolling out. And it looks like we have the name wrapped up in a number of states right now. When the loan officer, this guy's name's Pedro Maldonado. Pedro's out of Minnesota. He's a $30+ million a year producer, almost 100% Latino loans. And these are not easy loans. They're not big loan sizes. These are hardworking people, just wanting to get into a home. And, one of the things that we realized that at the company was, we need to support the Latino families out there. And
Right.
It's been a dream of mine for almost 15 years to start a bilingual division. When I was at the last company or 2 companies ago, I really wanted that bilingual division, and I really wanted to, have an impact. And with a leader like this guy, he's coming on board. We already have 2 Hispanic, Latino speaking, Spanish speaking processors. He's never had Spanish speaking processors before.
Wow.
He's always had to help. And this guy is crushing it. He's working hours that you wouldn't want to work. He's got a fantastic team in place. We've already brought on 2 business development reps before he even got here, where we're going to start working, with a lot of the Latino employers in the state of Minnesota. And then our goal is to find other like-minded people in, Texas, Florida, Arizona, California, just to get started. But if there's, good Latino groups out there that are looking for, all the documentation, the websites, marketing, everything to be in Spanish, that would be fantastic. And the cool thing is that company, the owners of the company, emigrated to this country themselves and became citizens, 30 years ago. And these guys are in their 40s right now. They've built a great company. And so they understand the need for something like this. So again, when I'm out recruiting, I've got the best of both worlds. I've got, this incredible broker company. I've got this incredible correspondent lender who has underwriters who understand the needs of the Latino community and what they're going to be going through. And so, for me, now where do I find these people? Okay. Well, putting the word out, advertising, doing the Facebook stuff, looking people up, where can you find these people? You've got CoreLogic, you got Modex, you got Big Purple Dot, you've got Model Match, you've got the Loan Officer List, you've got MMI, you can go through WiseHire, and all these different tools is where you can utilize them to go through and find these loan officers, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so whether I'm recruiting for the Latino side of the company or I'm recruiting non-bilingual people for either of the other companies, what I'm just trying to do is, find people that are out there that are looking for the next best thing. The other places you can look is you can talk to title company reps. You can talk to the closers. I mean, they probably know better than anybody. And maybe not even the title reps. If you even can talk to some of the processors at these title companies, to find out, hey, who out there hasn't had some good closings or really needs some help right now, and they know what you're doing. And they can give you great leads.
Yeah,
If you're going to realtor events, talk to the realtors. Who's your favorite loan officer? Why? What are they doing? What are they missing? What can't they do? And see if you can go after, their top people. Hey, so-and-so told me you're a great loan officer. Said you're missing a couple of these things and I got those things. Maybe we should talk. You can go to builder sales centers, talk to the builders that are out there, the reps sitting in the models. Even if they have their own mortgage company, they'll know who the good ones are that come in there,
right.
and there's not a builder mortgage company out there that does all their loans. And then of course the targeted Facebook stuff, and then your own staff. If you've got staff that's worked at other companies, ask them who they know, and you can find quality candidates. You just have to know what you have to offer. And for me, I didn't, try to turn this into commercial, but, for me, I know what I've got. And that's why, I can go out and target. And that's why literally, we've developed our first list. We're still breaking it down, breaking it in between Spanish speaking people and non-Spanish. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting to see what happens with that. But I'm hoping, maybe next year at this time, we're sitting here and I've got 5 or 10 Latino branches around the country that are serving their communities, which would be really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. And I haven't seen
We've
that
relied on
anywhere.
you over the years too for help, getting us lists and things like that.
That's awesome, man. So let's say I want to get a hold of you. What's the best way for people to reach you, Rick?
The easiest way is my email address is just welcomehomerecruiting@gmail.com. I never bought the URL or any of that stuff. It was just this little thing I started up on the side a few years ago, and that's the best way to get a hold of me. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, it's just Rick Koenig, Koenig, and all my contact information is in on LinkedIn. And I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. I thought at my age I was going to be retiring. I thought with things slowing down, this is the joke is I got a friend who's in he sells the, what do you call it, the stuff that goes with Medicare, the Section B and all that stuff.
Yep.
So every morning at 6 a.m., because he knows I usually go to the gym, I get a text message automatically. I know it's coming from his system. And today it said 363 days until Medicare. So I'm getting a text every day.
Wow.
I don't see myself retired or slowing down. I'm enjoying it. I
Yep.
still enjoy, being with the marketing animals. I just went to our boot camp a couple of weeks ago. I hope to be going to the next Freedom Club meeting. And, it's just great to be around like-minded people,
Yeah, that's so key. So last question before we go, what words of encouragement do you have for loan officers in the current times we're in? Now, the current times, I mean, things are really heating up. We talked about earlier that we need less units than we used to because the volume is higher. But what words of encouragement do you have?
You need to keep doing what they're doing. I think there's different coaching models out there. There's all kinds of things going on. And if you are not seeing ads for leads like every single day on Facebook when you turn on, I've never seen so many ads on Instagram or Facebook as I'm seeing right now, advertising to buy leads. I'm telling you what, I know people, we heard a story this morning about a guy that was getting 1,000 leads what was it, crazy, like a month. He almost ruined his entire business by doing nothing but this other business model. They were responding to these leads. They closed 7 loans for the year off of those 1,000 a month leads.
It's crazy.
And realized that the foundation of everybody's business right now is building relationships with the agents, real estate agents that are actually selling homes and taking buyers to homes. And if you can, for us being coaches from the mortgage marketing animals, if you can execute the daily success plan, call on these realtors, build up that group of realtors that you have regular referrals going in, that's the foundation. So once you've got that foundation, then you've got the other things. You can't get, you got to be like a horse with blinders running in a race. You got to build the foundation first, and then you start adding on the pieces. You add on the social media, the marketing, the direct campaigns. And some of that you can do a little bit, but you can't just dive all into one thing and forget about building that foundation. And it still involves picking that phone up. Now, if you're doing the marketing on the Facebook and you're doing marketing on Instagram and stuff like that, all of a sudden your face is being recognized. And when you're picking that phone up, then it's not a cold call.
Yeah.
I know there's coaches out there that say, never make a cold call again. Well, they're still picking the phone up at those companies and calling agents. They're just not talking about it. But they claim that it's not a cold call now because you've been doing marketing and they know who you are. But you still got to pick up the phone in almost any coaching organization I know of. Build that foundation. And the people that are doing that are still winning today. You and I both know of somebody down in Texas that a year ago didn't close anything in December and January. And this January and February, she closed 16 and 17 loans. And I believe we're 12 days into March here, not to date this, but I just did. She looks like she's going to close another 16 loans. And this week she's on the beach in Galveston, Texas with her grandkids celebrating spring break,
Yep.
in the sun and on the beach. So, if you want to know what following the model, making the calls and building this business says, and what you can do in today's environment, she's a perfect example of it.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, man. It has been great having you. I appreciate you, Rick.
I appreciate you too, brother. You know that.
Yeah. So this episode was brought to you by Remote Assistant Scout, helping loan officers hire virtual assistants. And Rick, having you on was awesome. I appreciate you. And we will see you on the next episode.